Welcome back. We've come a long way. We've started. We've cloned a repo. We looked at a program. We've entered our first logging message, and we just managed to get that message to appear in a file. So pretty cool. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to add some more logging to the application, and we're also going to learn about additional trace listeners, which would let you send the output to additional places. So we're going to be checking out the tag for more logging. Seen this before. So we'll come down here, check out the code, the usual warning about detached heads, all good. So we come back into the program and no changes to main. Okay, that's the same. Main view model. Okay, well, we definitely have a lot more messages here, so we'll be going through that. And then over in the configuration file, we've added additional listener, SignalR listener, whatever that is. And it looks like it takes a live view formatter. So we've got another formatter here, and we've added this listener to the category Intro to Logging, which we've already covered. So in addition to writing out to the file, rolling flat file, using the rolling flat file listener, we are going to be using this new SignalR listener. So before we dig back into the code and look at these additional configuration sections, let's go see this in action. So what we're going to do is we're going to open up an application called the SignalR server. We'll be talking more about what this does, but I first want to just show you. We're going to be opening up an application called VNC Log Viewer, and we're going to connect to the SignalR hub. Doesn't matter what you sign in as, and we'll come back and cover the log viewer in more detail. But for right now, we're just going to click on some things. So we'll move this down, and then we're going to come back and start the application. Okay, so now we've got all the pieces we want to see. Actually, let's open up one more thing. Let's open up our log folder, and we've still got intro to logging there. Okay, that's fine. So more logging has been added to the application, but it's basically the same approach you've seen before. We'll go look at that in more depth in a minute. But we're going to push the same buttons. Oh, interesting. Something appeared over here. Push another button. Okay. Do a calculation. Oh, more colors, more messages. Do our divide by zero test. Oh my goodness. Looks like we've got some different formatting here. So we're going to cover this, which is a new trace listener, and we're going to talk about how you might use this in addition to looking at the messages that, of course, continue to appear in the log file. So if you look at the date here, March 9th, so the messages that you see over here in the log viewer are also being written to the file. So that's what we're going to cover in this session. While we have the log file and the SignalR listener open, let's spend a little bit of time looking more carefully at the information that's been written out and use this as an opportunity to talk a little bit more about formatters. So if we look over in the trace listener and we look at one of the date and times, you'll notice that the dates in year, month, day format. The time appears to be in 24-hour format. And then there's a decimal point that's got some numbers after it. And compare that to what you see in the log file, which is month, day, year. Looks like 12-hour, AM, PM, and no decimal point after the number. So let's go see what caused that to be different. And to give you a hint, the answer is the formatter. The logging message didn't change. The listener that's listening for messages didn't change. What changed is the formatter. So if we come back to the config file and we look at the difference between the flat file formatter and the live view formatter and look at the template, look at the difference between the configuration for the timestamp between the two formatters. And if you look carefully, the flat file formatter just says timestamp, doesn't give any hint to how it should be formatted, where the timestamp, which is a built-in parameter of the logging framework, indicates the format, and then you can see the year, month, day, and then you can see hours, minutes, seconds, HH being 24-hour format, and then the dot is where you can indicate how many decimal points of precision you want. So it allows you to see down to the millisecond what time that logging message was logged. So let's go back and look at the output, and with that understanding, so over here, the format is starting with the year, 24-hour format in the milliseconds. And in the log file, drag this down, move this out of the way. And then in the flat file, it's just using the timestamp local without any formatting. And you can see down here what that looks like. So here's an indication where you can use the format element and the template specifically to control what you see. Another difference you'll notice is the log file has the name of the application that was running, in this case our program intro to logging.exe, but that's not been included in the formatter for the SignalR trace listeners. We go back and look at this. Process name is included in the flat file formatter, but we don't use that down in the live view formatter. So you have complete control over what goes into the message, and as we've talked about, the listeners use a formatter to write the output.